Hey guys, my name is Moon and welcome back for more Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 3, Tatarigoroshi. So last episode, it was pretty much Keiichi like thinking, planning, right, on what to do to help Satoko. Like yeah, but most of the scenes, right? And then we also saw Tomitake and Takano for the first time in this chapter. Takano being her creepy self yet again. So yeah, let's just continue today. Let's see what happens. The die of fate had been cast. Reporting to a public agency, which we'd kept being warned could instead result in something far worse for Satoko if we didn't have the evidence first. And just like that, had I failed, had I let my emotions get the better of me in that moment? Maybe I should have stayed silent and left everything to Mion since she had been relatively calm. I remember the punishment game where we had to badmouth Curry, yes, and how me saying anything would have made it worse, and Satoko told us to leave the talking to her. Maybe it was the same thing here. I was impulsive, so maybe I should have just shut up and looked at the floor. But it was too late to lament it. The die I had thrown wouldn't be coming back into my hands. All we could do was pray for something good to happen.
ケイイチ君はケイイチ君にできる精一杯をしたよ。だからあとは先生たちに任せよう。ね。
俺にできる精一杯。本当に俺が死に物狂いに精一杯だったら、里子を夕べのうちに連れ出して、どこかの廃屋にでも隠れてる。そうならなかったってことは、俺は精一杯じゃなかったってことだろ。
もう考えるのはよそう。ケイイチ君、少し根を詰めすぎだよ。そんな調子じゃケイイチ君まで倒れちゃう。
Just leave me alone. I left her with those words and stared lazily up the ceiling. I wondered if I'd really got Chie-sensei to understand. Would the public agency intervene and solve everything within the day? Would they acknowledge the abuse and guarantee her safety? After lunch break, our afternoon classes were mostly self-study. The teacher came back to the classroom occasionally, but then the phone in the lounge would ring and she'd have a long conversation with the caller. Everyone in class got the feeling they knew what those phone calls were about. Sensei came trotting back from the classroom.
今日は何度も電話で本当にすみませんでしたね。では今日はこれでおしまいにします。院長、号令。起立。
It looked to me like Sensei had been wearing a dark expression ever since lunch break. It wasn't a very relieving expression. It wouldn't be, even if Sensei 100% understood the situation and passionately explained to the other person. At the end, the Child Consultation Center as a public agency would be the ones to decide whether to get her to safety. Sensei understood that as well as us, and that's why she looks so unreliable right now.
ケイちゃん、帰ろうよ。部活する気も起きないでしょ。
みーちゃん、部活は誰がかけても面白くないよ。
Rena was right. It was no fun for us if someone was missing. If the teacher's expression had shown more promise, then maybe we could have gone home more comfortably. But I couldn't let myself feel relieved. I couldn't be naive and tell myself all I can do is pray now that the dice have been cast. Just in case they didn't get her to safety and decided to wait and see again. I'd need to take further measures. We've asked the people who could do something official already. Then there was one more place that was worth asking for help. She might laugh it off, or I might be right and I could be endangering my own life. What? Who? But I'd try.
ミオン、
Is he gonna be Mion again?
今日さ、お前の家に寄ってもいいか？
Oh, he's gonna ask the grandma?
お前、漫画かなり持ってるんだろ？少しまとめ狩りしたいんだけどな。
いいけど。
There was an ominous meaning behind my words, so Mion realized what I really meant right away. I wanted to talk about something alone. That's what I meant.
みーちゃん、ケイチくん、早く帰ろう。
Rena already had her shoes on and was waving to us from the schoolyard. Mion's house was gigantic in every way imaginable. The house itself was vaguely old-fashioned, traditional Japanese house, but the yard, I guess, or their plot of land, was enormous. It easily convinced me that they really were major landowners with Hinamizawa under the thumb. Mion brought me to their guest room and the servant brought us a tea.
へえ、さすが金持ちだな。お手伝いさんなんか雇ってるのかよ。
私とバッチャしか住んでないもの。私だけじゃやってけないよ。
The servant left telling us it was 5 o'clock, then withdrew with soft footsteps.
週に2、3回ね。バッチャの世話とか掃除の手伝いで来てくれてる。3、4人がローテーションで入ってくれてるんで、大抵毎日誰かがいてくれるよ。夕方までだけどね。あ、宴会とかがあって人手が欲しい時には別途に呼んでるんだけどさ。
If he had the money to hire all these people, then just take Satoko in. I glared at her as I thought that, and Mion seemed to catch on immediately.
ごめん。
いいよ。金の問題じゃないことは分かってるからな。
先に言っとくけど、うちはお金持ちかもしれないけど、私に自由にできるお金は全くないんだからね。そこだけは誤解しないでほしい。
It kind of looked like I was bullying her. Mion had been apologizing to me a lot lately. Was Mion the sort of person who would do that this much? Maybe it's just that I've been looking so grim lately.
でさ、何？ケイちゃん、なんか話があったんじゃないの？
ミオンにかなり本気な話がある。突然な話でミオンは面食らうかもしれないが、聞いてほしい。
何？
あ、先に逃げ道を渡しておくな。仮に本当だったとしてミオはそれを認めてくれなくてもいい。しらばっくれててもいい。だけれど最後まで俺の話は聞いてほしい。鬼ヶ淵村御三家の今や筆頭家、その次期当主の園崎ミオに話がある。
At first, Mion looked like she had no idea what I was saying, but at hearing the whole sentence and putting it together, she reacted.
どこで聞いたの？
それは関係ないことだ。
I definitely couldn't tell her who told me. Takano-san, you told me not to, but please forgive me. This was why I asked you about it after all.
ケイちゃんが鬼ヶ淵村の名を知ってることだけでも驚きだけど、私についていろいろとあることないことを知ってそうだね。
ああ、あることないことだ。俺が勘違いしてるだけなのかもしれない。でもそれでもいいから聞いてくれ。そしてもしも本当なんだったら、
ケイちゃんが何の話をしようとしてるかわからないけど、話す前に釘を刺すよ。 とにかくケイちゃんは大きな勘違いをしてる。だからできるなら私はケイちゃんの話も聞きたくない。聞いても何も叶えてあげられないからね。でも話すことでケイちゃんの肩が少しでも軽くなるなら聞くよ。本当に聞くだけ。何も起こらないよ。それでもいいね。
ああ。
Mion seemed to know what kind of thing I'd be talking about. She warned me that doing so would be fruitless. That much was obvious. If what I was going to say was true, then the Sonozaki family would be the masterminds behind the string of freak deaths that have been occurring every year in Hinamizawa.
お社様のたたりってあるよな。
Mion nodded a little.
正体不明。なぜ起こるのかも不明。個々には解決しながらも、全体で見れば不可解な連続開始、連続失踪事件。でも、一つだけ共通することがある。それは、必ず村の旧敵が標的に選ばれること。
みたいだね。
Mion spoke as if it didn't relate to her. That was fine. She didn't have to admit it. For now, I just wanted her to stay quiet and listen to me.
あさってだろ、綿流し。今年のたたりの犠牲者ってさ、もう決まってるのか？
Mion didn't answer. Her expression remained the same. Like she said, she was quietly listening.
あ、ごめんな。聞いてるだけって約束なのに、質問しちゃ変だよな。
Mion gave me a look she'd never given me before. Before a faraway look, a sympathetic one. She didn't nod, she just smiled faintly and listened to me.
もしも今年のたたりが聡子のおじじゃなかったなら、だって去年は聡子のおばだろ。順番から言えば決しておかしくはないだろう。
そうだね。そういう順序もあるね。
第一、あいつ去年のたたりでおばが死んだ後、聡子を放り出して丸1年町に逃げ出してたじゃないか。そんなやつもろにお社様のたたり確定じゃないかよ。今年のたたりに選んでも不足はないはずだぜ。
そうだね。今年のたたりであいつが死んでも多分みんな納得するね。
俺聞いたんだ。お社様のたたりってのはその。
No matter how I looked at it, I wasn't sure whether I should continue. No matter how I tried, the words wouldn't come out.
ひなみ沢連続開始事件、通称お社様のたたりは、園崎家が主導で御三家が起こしている村ぐるみの事件だでしょ。
But the thing is, it might be, right? It can be. But I guess maybe I don't know. It's hard to say right now.
別に俺はそれにミオンが関わってるとかそんなのには興味がないんだ。
No, I was thinking because of last chapter, right? And then yeah, like Shion killed, I guess Shion, right? She killed, I mean that's my theory, that she killed all of them, right? The heads of the family, so I don't know.
ただもしもそういうたたりを決めている連中に渡りがつくなら、聡子のおじをたたりに選ぶように言ってほしいだけなんだ。頼む。
ケイちゃんの言ってる内容はさっきから本当にひどいこと。ひなみ沢連続開始事件が園崎家主導の事件なんだとしたら、それじゃあ主犯格は私ってことだよね。私がたたりを決め指示をし、何人も殺めて消したことになる。ケイちゃんは私を人殺し呼ばわりするんだ。
だから言ってるじゃないか。ミオンが連続殺人の主犯だろうと無関係だろうと俺はどうでもいいんだ。たとえミオンが殺人犯だって俺の親友であることには何も関係ないじゃないか。
I wonder though.
それでも全然構わないんだぜ。警察に追われたら助けてやる。
Yeah, if you're, for example, if your friend you found out was a murderer, what would you do? Will you help? See, he said, I come to help.
お前のアリバイを作ってやるし逃走だって助けてやる。仲間で親友だからだ。そうだろ。
Mion looked surprised for a while. She was dumbfounded.
いきなり共犯宣言？ケイちゃん、かなり大胆だよそれ。
いいから話の腰を折るな。佐藤のおじを今年のたたりに。
ケイちゃんストップ。そろそろご飯の準備をしたいから今日はこれくらいにしたいんだけど。
いや
I didn't realize that my cheeks were wet with tears. They slid down my chin and fell drip drop to the tatami mat.
最初から言ってる通り、ケイちゃんは大きな勘違いをしてる。お社様のたたりはお社様のたたり。たとえ人間の起こした事件であったにせよ、それは園崎家とは、ましてや私とは何の関係もないよ。
ああ、それは分かっているさ。
だからケイちゃんの必死の訴えには胸を打たれるけど、それだけ。私が叶えてあげたくても叶えてあげられない。それもわかるね。
あ
あ。でもケイちゃんの気持ちは痛いくらいに分かったよ。もしも本当に私がケイちゃんの言うように御三家を操って毎年の犠牲者を選べる立場にあったなら、きっと私はケイちゃんの願いを叶えているよ。
ミオン。
でも現実は違う。私はただの園崎ミオン。確かに園崎家はいろいろな意味で悪い噂を持ってひなみ沢を影から支配している一族だけれども、連続開始事件とは何の関係もない。ダム闘争では確かに少々過激な抵抗もしたけれど、それだけ。人殺しなんて大それたこと絶対にやらないよ。
Okay.
そんな悲しいこと言うなよ。せめて今だけでも嘘でもいいからうなずいてくれればいいじゃないか。
ケイちゃん、夢を見るのは勝手。私がここでうなずいてみせれば、ケイちゃんは聡子があさっての夜に解放されると信じて肩の荷を下ろすことができるんだろうけどね。でも無情にも聡子の叔父はあさっての夜も超える。来週になっても再来週になっても居続ける。
What did Thanos say? Like was it Thanos? Reality is disappointing, something like that.
それを覚悟してね。私は綿流しの次の日になぜ殺さなかったなんてケイちゃんに詰め寄られたくない。
ミオン。
Mion stood up slowly and closed the sliding door to keep out the wind that had grown chilly.
ミオさんかな。ケイちゃんにそんな話を吹き込んだのは。
Wait, Mio?
あの人ひなみ沢をいい感じに誤解してるからな。
Mio? Is it Mio Takano? Okay,
本
yeah.
人が一人で楽しんでる分にはいいんだけど、
Yeah, I keep saying Takano. I forgot her name is Mio Takano, right?
ケイちゃんを感化するのはいただけないな。やれやれ、これだからよそ者は。
高野さんは関係ないからな。
はいはい。でも安心して、 仮にミオさんがケイちゃんに喋ったと分かったって別にどうにもならないんだから。別にミオさんが今年のタタリに選ばれるわけじゃない。
It's not like Miyo-san will be chosen for this year's curse. We'll see.
そもそも今年もタタリがあるかどうかなんてわからないよ。あんなの不幸な偶然がただ積み重なっただけなんだからさ。
聞いてくれてありがとな。もしもミオンが連続事件と何の関係もなかったなら、本当に不愉快な話をした。謝っておくな。
そうだね。謝っておいてくれるかな。
Mion said she didn't have much time, but she still brought me to the gate. She said she had a meeting or something today about Sunday's Tatarigoroshi's festival, so there would be a lot of people from the town council and the festival committee coming. Despite her day being so busy, she still listened to what I had to say.
天に神様がいるならさ、きっとケイちゃんの強い思いは伝わるから。
ああ、今日は変な話をして本当にごめんな。今日の話はなかったことにしてくれていい？
忘れておくよ。
じゃあ明日な。
バイバイ。
I had really only spent a short time with Mion. Talking to her made me think. It was clear that what Takana-san had told me at least wasn't a complete fabrication. If Mion was really unconnected to the incidents, then she probably wouldn't have listened to me so quietly. She heard me out until I was done without making any quips, and I wanted to think that was proof. I did kind of feel like I was grasping at straws. Of course, thinking back on it, it was a terrible thing to discuss. I mean, I went to my friend's house, called her a serial murderer, and then told her to kill Satako's uncle. True though. Like, Keiichi is so desperate now, right? She's asking me in this? But who knows, right? What if Satako's uncle actually the victim this time, right? We'll see. I was the only one talking that whole time. Mion quietly listened to everything I had to say like a pastor listening to a confession. She could have gotten angry partway through, told me off, and to go wash my face in miso soup and come back later. But she didn't. Was that proof that Mion's family, the Sonozaki, were the masterminds? Or was she just listening because she felt sorry for me, going kinda crazy? It's hard to tell right now. I didn't know which it was. But it was the one effort I could make at the moment. It was another form of insurance. Should worse come to worse and the public agency decided to wait and see. It was a completely useless resistance, literally grasping at straws. Sensei said that if she reported it to the child consultation center, they'd have to respond the same day. Could they already be in the middle of responding to it now? If Satoko came to school tomorrow morning, all energetic, then everything would be just a needless fear. Why couldn't tomorrow come faster? Okay, it's nighttime now. The night was unusually hot and humid and I couldn't get to sleep. I said all that to Sensei. They couldn't possibly decide to wait and see again this year. Satoko, what was it like for her tonight? Had she tasted the end of her nightmare, enjoying the night of liberation? I actually put my hands together and prayed into my futon. Tomorrow.
おはよう、ケイチくん。
おはよ
よかった。今日もお寝坊かと思ったよ。昨日はおばさまには先に行ったって言われるし、 学校には来ていないし、途中で日射病で倒れちゃったのかなって心配してたんだから。
へいへい。昨日は心配かけて申し訳ございませんでした。
Hey, good morning!
みーちゃん、おはよう。大丈夫？なんかすっごく眠そうだよ。
そういえば昨日は遅くまで町会の人が集まっての打ち合わせ会だったんだろ？
打ち合わせ会なんて名ばかりの宴会だよ。毎年やってるお祭りだもん。今さら小難しい打ち合わせなんかないし。
今日の午後はやっぱりお祭りのお手伝いに行くのかな？
うん。バッチャの代わりにいろいろ挨拶しなきゃなんないし。
Are we actually gonna go to the festival again?
それにね、祭りってのは準備からもう始まってるからね。
Our morning conversation was light-hearted as usual. Like, I don't think we're gonna go to a festival with something like this happening, right? I mean, with Satoko, like, and Keiichi thinking about Satoko a lot, right? He's not gonna have fun, I mean, if we went to a festival like this. It looked like Mion had thankfully forgotten about how I had barged into her house yesterday with that crazy talk. The more I think back on it, I felt like I'd really said something terrible to her. I was really thoughtless and wouldn't have been weird if she'd yelled at me. It was highly possible Takana-san had exaggerated her story. To think our comrade and friend Mion, the young leader of the Sonozakis, one of the three families effectively controlling Hinamizawa, was pulling the strings behind the serial death incidents was unbelievable. But if there was even a 1% chance that was true, then what I said yesterday to Mion might have been a success. It was no more than 1 in 100. But that little bit of effort might have brought the chances of saving Satoko up by even a bit. At least I'd made that effort. After yesterday ended, I was sure I'd done everything I possibly could. If there was something else I could do, it was probably just to clap my hands and pray that Satoko's uncle would be killed by the curse.
Satoko, 今日は来ているといいな。
そうだね。先生がいろいろと手配してくれたんでしょ？うん。きっと大丈夫だよ。
ひなみざわ地区の民生委員が私のおばさんなんだけどさ。ゆうべ電話して聞いてみたよ。
へえ、みーちゃんのおばさんって民生委員さんなんだね。それでさとこちゃんのことなんて言ってたの？
うん。先生があの後直接県の児童相談所に電話してね。児童福祉士が夕べのうちに訪問したらしいよ。私のおばさんにも今後定期的にアプローチするようにと連絡があったって。
小難しい話はいいよ。それより聡子はどうなったんだよ。保護されたのか？
おばさんはそこまでは知らされてなかったみたい。
Okay.
本来はこういうのって秘密だからね。おばさんが私に話してくれたのも十分に倫理違反なんだしさ。
くそ、かえって不安になったぞ。
行こう、学校に。
Right. Discussing this more would just make us feel worse. It was far quicker to go to school and to see if Satoko was safe or not. The three of us nodded and ran off. Was Satoko safe? What measures had the child consultation center taken? I didn't care what, as long as we could go back to our peaceful life with Satoko today, it didn't matter to me. At the shoe racks at the entrance, Rena took a peek in Satoko's shoe cubby. But it's not there. Oh!
さとこちゃんの靴あるよ、あるよ。
Okay, it's there.
ケイちゃん、さとこは来てるよ。
Wait, what? Was that Rena's voice?
よかった。
生きてるだけじゃわからないだろう。聡子の顔を見るまで何もわかるものか。
We trotted towards the classroom. It sounded like Mion's voice, but Rena was speaking, right? The classroom was lively as it usually was in the morning.
聡子、どこだ？
ここにちゃんといますですよ。朝っぱらから騒々しいですわね。
Okay, she's actually here, yes.
少しはお静かになさいませ。さとこちゃん、大丈夫だった？
All of her friends crowded around Satoko excitedly.
保護士来たんでしょ？どういう話になったわけ？
呼んだのはどなたですの？まったくどんな騒ぎでしたのよ。
先生だよ。あれだけ欠席すりゃ心配もする。
Sadako said, I told you I'm fine under her breath. She was still trying to overcome all the suffering on her own.
私もおじさまもとんだ迷惑でしたのよ。急にあんなに人に押しかけられて、もう。みんなさとこちゃんのこと心配してたんだよ。迷惑だなんて言わないで。
ああ、もうとにかくそれでどうなったんだよ。
どうもこうもしませんわ。風邪が治ったから学校に来ただけのことですのよ。これからはあんまりお休みして心配をかけないようにしないといけませんわね。
What was Satoko saying?
おじさんはどうなったの？ええ、多少誤解があったことを認めて、二人でごめんなさいをしまして。
Okay. Rika-chan grabbed the back of my collar and pulled me away.
なんだよ、リカちゃん。
Rika-chan silently dragged me all the way into the hallway.
リカちゃん、あれはどういうことだよ。
さとこは何でもないと言って追い返してしまいました。
バカ野郎！なんで？
No, somewhere in my mind I thought it might turn out like this. Sadako didn't ask for anyone's help. She didn't hide behind anyone. She was trying to ride out this pain. She wanted to show Satoshi proof that if he came back to them, she wouldn't need to hide behind him anymore.
だけど監督に聞いた話じゃ、保護士ってのは本人の意思に関係なく緊急保護をすることができるんだろ？いくら聡子が虐待を否定したって虐待は事実。
Chie-sensei finally came. Her expression was far from cheerful.
前原くんの言う通り、児童福祉士は緊急性があると判断すれば職権で緊急保護をすることができます。当事者の意思に関係なく。
じゃあどうして聡子の意思が変に尊重されて保護されないことに？
それに沖宮の相談所もいろいろ検討した末にそういう判断を。
なんだよそりゃ！先生、昨日あんた絶対に助けるから大丈夫って言わなかったか？これはどういうことだよ！おかしいじゃねえかよ！おい！
Jesus, Keiichi.
圭一、実はさとこの児童虐待の通報は過去にも2回あったのです。
古出さん、
Sensei tried to stop her, but Rika-chan went on speaking anyway.
過去に2度？一昨年の冬に通報して様子見になったって話は聞いてるが、その前にもあったのか？
さとこの死んでしまったお父さんはさとこの本当のお父さんではないのです。
Oh.
リカちゃん、そ それがえ
I'm stunned at the sudden revelation. I had no idea what Rika-chan wanted to tell me, but it seemed really important, so I couldn't get a word in either.
サトコのお母さんは再婚なのです。サトコとサトシはお母さんの連れ子で、お父さんとは血はつながっていなかったのです。
Satoshi was a good kid, one who listened politely to what adults told him. He was immediately welcomed by their new father and was loved. But Satoko was different. She was rebellious, she told lies, she played pranks. Her stepfather didn't like her at all.
つまりどういうことだよ。
サトコはおじ夫婦に預けられる以前の家族の時もあまり良好な家族関係ではなかったのです。
Of course, her stepfather didn't have any malicious intent at the start. At first, he must have worked hard to get his new daughter to accept him. But the young Satoko didn't make any effort at all towards the end. She was distant toward her stepfather and never opened her heart to him even a little. She just got on his nerves all the time with seemingly forced lies and pranks. Her father's discipline and punishment must have been loving at first, of course, but that too faded quickly.
私はその時はひなみ沢にいなかったからよく知らないけれど、昨日電話で初めて知りました。
先生が聞いたのはどんな話ですか？
さとこちゃんが両親、特に義理のお父さんを陥れるのを目的に嘘の話を作って、
Okay.
自分で生活相談所に電話したって。
自称と作り話。
サトコは嫌いなお父さんを追い払うため嘘の電話をしたのです。
Child welfare officers rushed there and heard the story. Her father genuinely apologized for a few times when he had gone too far and agreed to let the child welfare center giving coaching.
いろいろと関係機関が調べた結果ね、ギフとさとこちゃんの心のすれ違いに原因があることは分かったんだけど、それ以上にさとこちゃん自身に問題があることが分かったの。
さとこに問題って何です？
Satoko's mom or mother, there were a few times where she had lived with the de facto husbands, though those relationships didn't result in remarriage. From a young age, Satoko's been forced to call at least 2 or 3 people her father. At some point, Satoko's pranks escalated. She would spill food on purpose, turn over her plate, and even throw it. She would break the windows in the neighborhood and shoplift candy. She would put thumbtacks everywhere and set other traps seriously to hurt people. Not in the way she did now, just to get laughs. She was also fond of telling lies that would be found out right away and people got mad at her every time. But she never ever changed her behavior.
さとこちゃんのことを問題児なんて思わないでね。これは幼いさとこちゃんが母親を知らない男に取られまいとして取った自衛的な行為なの。
In regards to Satoko's problematic behavior, child psychology experts from public institutions indicated her actions were to draw her mother's attention to herself. They acknowledged that she had a form of harmful emotional trauma and declared that she needed counseling and therapy from professionals. They didn't know whether that therapy had healed the wounds in her heart.
さとこちゃんはわざと体に傷を作り、お父さんに虐待を受けているとね。自分で通報してお父さんを追い出そうとした。
でも結局さとこをいじめてたわけだろ、その義父は。
いいえ、虐待の話は全部さとこちゃんの作り話だった。義理のお父さんは もちろん少し感情的な叱り方をしてしまったかもしれないけど、逸脱しているほどではなかったの。
Sadako had lied to chase away her stepfather, and they saw through her right away and found out that Sadako had issues.
ひょっとしてそのせいで一昨年の冬は様子見に。
はい。
Okay.
児童相談所にちゃんと昔の記録が残ってましたですから。聡子の嘘の可能性もあるから慎重にということになりましたのです。
なんだよそれ。つまりなんだよ。聡子は嘘をつくかもしれないから慎重に。だから様子を見ろってことになってんのかよ。
狼と羊飼いさんなのです。
That fable about telling a lie once, making others unwilling to believe you later. So yeah, all that she did last time, it haunts her now, right? Now it really looks like she's getting abused and stuff, right? Because how we see her, right? And how her uncle actually treats her. So it's pretty much like biting her in the ass now. Her actions back then, right? People wouldn't believe her that easily now.
ふざけんなよ。昔のことなんか全然無関係だろう。今現在起こっている事実だけが重要なんだろうが。聡子は叔父に虐待されている。どうしてその事実が昔の出来事で歪められなきゃならねえんだよ。
Neither Sensei nor Rika-chan had anything to say to that.
とにかくそれを慎重に判断するために保護士さんが昨日訪れましたのです。
And Sadako dealt with them, put on the best, strongest smile she could manage, and denied the abuse. Of course, she was probably being threatened to keep quiet about it by her uncle. Sadako was trying to outlast everything without asking for her help. Sadako wanted to wait for Satoshi to come back, and she outright denied the truth of the abuse. What an idiot. What? You're not really enduring it? Do you really think pretending like this will actually bring Satoshi back? Just stop it already. Satoshi, he abandoned you. And the fact that he hasn't shown up to save you now is proof, isn't it? So just stop it. Please, stop being weird and pretending to endure it.
今した話は全部忘れるように。いいですね。他の子に喋ったら先生怒りますからね。
Chie-sensei gave me a warning, then left to go back to the teacher's lounge.
圭一、聡子のことをかわいそうな子なんて思わないでくださいです。聡子はしっかり生きていますです。聡子は
そんなの分かってる。俺たちのかけがえのない仲間だ。
聡子はまだ頑張っています。もう少し見守ってあげましょうです。相談所の人が今後も定期的に訪問すると言ってるのです。大変なことになったらすぐに助けてくれますよ。
大変なことになった後だろ。
Any more than that would have sounded like I was picking a fight, so I firmly swallowed my next words and went back to the classroom. Mion and Rena were talking to Satoko like they always did. It was a silly conversation. A humorous, even fun one like it was any old day. If Satoko really said she could endure it, maybe I should do as Rika-chan said and watch over her. Maybe whatever help I offer will just go unwanted. Higurashi, when they cry. But yeah, let's continue again. I'm getting very, very invested now. Even the videos are getting longer, but
さて、お昼でございますわね。
let's continue. Okay.
みー5人揃ってのお昼は久しぶりだね。やっぱりこうじゃないとダメだよね。
まったく同感同感。ほらほらケイちゃんも机寄せて。
Sadako brought her own desk over as well, grinning broadly. Even knowing nothing had been resolved, this exchange was pleasant and it made me remember how fun it used to be.
いつまでもリカにお弁当を作ってもらっては悪いですわね。いいのですよ。さとこのお弁当を作るのは僕の楽しみなのです。
Rika-chan's such a good girl. Having such a good friend must be so reassuring.
僕に大きなハンバーグを入れて、さとこには焦げたのを入れて、
Okay.
さとこだけかわいそうでみぱーん。
I take it back. Well, she's Rika-chan after all.
ほらほら見て見て。今日はほらオムライスなんだよ。マッシュルームとか美味しそうだよね。はう。いつもながらお見事なお手前でございましたよ。いつお嫁に行ってもおかしくない腕前ですわね。お嫁を食べると
レナにお嫁は NG ワードだね。以後控えるように。
ほんのちょっぴり完成しましたよ。
ところでミオンの弁当はなんだよ。今日のはまた趣が違って期待大だな。
おじさんはまったりと夕べのおかず詰め合わせね。煮物がいい感じなんだよ。ほら大根の色はかなりいいでしょ。
美味しそうなのです。
煮物は一晩寝かせてからが真骨頂だな。これはかなりいけそうだ。よってさとこの分はなし。俺が全部食って感想を聞かせるから黙って見てろ。
なんですって。私の分もおよこしなさいな。
Elbow punch, headbutt. I'll use my knees too.
密着距離まで入れば私の有利は動きませんわね。ケイチさんの分のお大根が実に美味しいですわ。
ちっくしょう。バトル開始時から密着でいきなりコンボとは無念。
This little exchange, how long had it been? It looked like they ended up going with a wait and see approach, but maybe her uncle realized he'd gone a little too far and would dial it back now. If her treatment improved a little, would that be a good thing? Satoko was grinning wider than I'd ever seen as she chomped down on her mouthful of daikon she'd plundered from me. Did it really taste that good? Satoko was somewhat cute like that. Is this cute? She looks like she's dead. And just as I'd done many times, I grabbed her head and started petting it. Okay, what happened? What?
Satoko-chan?
It was so sudden that for a moment I don't know what had happened. The back of my hand was stinging. I went to pet Satoko's head and then she hit my hand?
どうしたのサトコ。
Satoko was scratching at her head as though a pimple or something had appeared on it and it became itchy. It was so sudden and so unprovoked that I didn't understand what had happened.
どうしたサトコ。
At some point, her body had been covered in a thin layer of sweat and her breathing had turned ragged. When I pet her head again, did she not like it? Was that what it meant?
お前、頭撫でられるの嫌いだったっけ？
Once again, slowly I held out the palm of my hand and brought it close to Satako's head. The instant the palm of my hand touched her head, there was a shock like static electricity and Satako began to howl. Dude, what the hell is happening? She grabbed my arm in both hands as if flinging off a snake trying to cling to her. As if trying to throw away something dirty, she threw it violently. It happened too suddenly for me to react. I hit the desk behind me and both it and I fell to the floor. The classroom fell deathly silent now. As Satako bellowed, it sounded like she was in the throes of death and she unsteadily backed away. Is she gagging or something? What? Then she threw up the food she just eaten. She puked. Okay. She vomited it all back up. What happened? Keiichi was doing that to Satako like back then as well, right? Patting her head? And now something happened. The sound of Satako's vomit hitting the floor rang through the classroom.
大丈夫かよ、サトコ。具合でも。
I reached out a hand and she swatted it away with all her might. With such extreme strength that I fell onto the floor again. Keiichi gotta stop for a minute there. Satako put both hands on her head as though protecting it, groaned some more and took a few steps back. And then she began swinging both hands around. Students in the nearby seats were forced to evacuate. She grabbed anything within reach, bento boxes, chairs, threw them and tossed them and flung them about.
ちょっとやめなよ、サトコ。あんたどうしちゃったの？
She screamed out as if Mion's words had caused her physical pain. No one spoke a word to her. All the students were withdrawing behind us, leaving Satako alone in the corner of the classroom. Around her, there were desks and chairs all over the floor. A bento lay scattered. It was terrible. All I could hear was Satako's ragged breaths and the voices of the cicadas. The strings of tension loosened around Satako, and maybe she suddenly grew scared of her own actions because she started trembling and gave a word of apology. But nobody knew who that apology was directed towards. So for now, I decided to answer as everyone's representative.
いや、そっちこそ大丈夫か？
ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。
Our words didn't match each other at all. Satako hugged her shoulders and back she went. She ran into the locker with the cleaning supplies in it. Even that made her give a little yelp. The impact caused the bucket atop the locker to fall, making a loud sound that scared Satako most of all. She almost jumped out of her skin, grabbing a bunch of the curtain in her hands. Nobody spoke to her. They could only look, not even remembering to blink. Satako, what on earth? I stood up, took a step away from everyone and approached Satako.
何があったんだ？
私知らないです。私知らないです。違うから、もう嫌です。やめてください。許して して。
落ち着けよ。さとこ、俺がわかるか？
もうやだ、もうやだ、やです、やです。
Every time I took a step forward, she grasped the curtains more tightly and cried out.
さとこ、俺だよ。ケイイチだ。わかんないのか？お前に危害なんか加えない。
Yeah, Keiichi better leave for a moment. Satoko's having an episode here, right?
だから落ち着けって。大丈夫だ。俺はお前の味方だって。
助けて、助けて。怖いのやだ、気持ち悪いのやだ。やだ。
Suddenly, my shoulders were grabbed and I was dragged backward. Finally, who did that? Rena, okay. Nice, Rena.
ごめん、ケイチ君。ケイチ君はちょっと後ろに行ってて。
Yeah, because it's really, Keiichi triggering Satoko right now. After pulling me back, she ran towards Satoko in my place.
大丈夫だよ、さとこちゃん。もう怖いことなんかないよ。ほら、安心して。やだやだやだ。もうやだやだ。でも、やだ。にーにー。にーにー。助けて。助けて。にーにー。助けてよ。
Damn, man. As she gripped the curtains and kept calling for Nini, she continued to wail about being forgiven for something and to be saved from something. What is this? Mion gnashed her teeth and groaned, and there were tears falling from her firmly closed eyes.
どうなってんだよ、これ。
What is happening so suddenly, man?
昨日で全部終わったんじゃないのか？今日からまた元の生活に戻っていくんじゃないのか？ミオン、ミオン。
And there was a crazy sound. Ren had taken the cleaning supply locker and kicked it down to the ground. Everyone stood surprised at Rena's unexpected act of brutality. After that, Rena embraced the bawling Satoko from behind and started crying with her stifled.
レナ、どうした？
ごめん。ケイチ君、ちょっと黙ってて。
今のはなんだよ。どうしたんだよ。サトコから何か聞いたのか？何を聞いたんだよ。
サイナー。
Yeah, honestly, Keiichi's getting super annoying here. He keeps talking, man.
黙ってろって言ってんでしょ。
Rena's raw, hostile emotion hit me like a brick. It was no more than a momentary howl of emotion for Rena, but it was more than that for me. She had shown me what was behind all that emotion, what was in her heart.
さとこちゃん。やだやだやだやだ。もうやだやだやだ。許して。何もできなかった私たちを許して。リーリー。リーリー。リーリー。ごめんね。ごめんね。
Forgive us for being unavailable to do anything, or unable, I mean. Rena's words made me feel as though the blood vessels in the back of my head were suddenly all turning to ash. My vision grew distant, blurred with gray, and the world lost its color. I thought we could save Satoko. But though I knew it'd be the sooner the better, I thought there was no time limit for doing that. I never even dreamed that we could be too late. I'd been making a huge mistake. I thought Satoko could be hurt, but never that she'd break. It was such a huge mistake. People, they break. Thinking they don't is absolutely absurd. We needed to save Satoko. We needed to save her before she broke. That fatal lapse in awareness had brought this on. Whose fault was it? That went without saying. Mine? No. Ours. We all took on the duty of saving Satoko, but we were negligent to the point of laziness. In that sense, this was the inevitable result. Even if this didn't happen today and it happened tomorrow or the other day after or next week, we would have just sat around doing nothing until that day. So this was the obvious result. I slumped down to my knees, just as Mion and Rika-chan had done. And I too closed my eyes tight and couldn't stop myself from sobbing.
何の騒ぎですか?
Thank God you're here.
ちょっと何があったんです?
The teacher came and her face screwed up at the terrible spectacle before her. The instant she realized the teacher was here, Satoko went through another complete change. She wiped her face with the curtains and like nothing happened, she smiled.
北条さん、これは一体何事ですか?
レナさんと喧嘩になってしまっただけですのよ。お弁当をめぐってちょっぴり大暴れなんですの。ね。
Rena didn't nod in reply, but then, since Satoko wished it, she nodded without strength. The rest of the class couldn't keep up with her extreme changes. We all just stared in a daze.
ちょっと悪ふざけをしただけなんですのよ。
Look at this, she's pretending again.
皆さん、度肝を抜かれすぎでございますわね。
Satoko would probably sweep the whole thing under the rug. For what? Her heart is torn to pieces, so what else? You wanted your Nini, didn't you? But unfortunately for you, Satoshi doesn't even ever intend on coming back. It's never that easy, so he won't just conveniently show up and save you. So you don't have to wait for him anymore. You can cry, beg for help, and you can run away.
私たちが無力だから。
Mion suddenly said. She spoke then those few words that had tormented me countless times. Those words were a spell, and when I heard them, my whole body suddenly regained its calm. My emotions all slip away like they'd never been there, like a wave departing. Oh my god, and then the world's color flipped inside out. What's this new music we're hearing though? My field of view expanded. My head grew remarkably cold, and I felt like my mind's volume had grown even wider than the classroom we were in. At the time, my soul was doubtlessly no longer in the small, petty vessel of my head, but floating in the air a little bit above it. It was a mysterious feeling of release. I broke free of the cramped confines of my skull and stretched out my roots in all directions as far as I wanted to. It was a strange feeling and one I'd never felt ever before. An odd sense of exhilaration. My sharpened senses caused me to transcend. My mind was sharper than a knife's edge, and I immediately decided that Spending the time to let myself be crushed with grief would be an absolute waste. I erased all the garbage information from my brain. I expelled the pointless emotions, presenting the obstacles to action.
ミオ、お前は呪ってろ。自分の無力さをいつまでも。
え？
If I could have taken back what had happened by crying about it, I'd have cried all day. But the fact was, this was how things had turned out. I couldn't take back what had happened. The top priority then would be to prevent the situation from worsening further and to sever the chains of misfortune. Until today, I'd been looking at things so narrow-mindedly and I could scarcely believe it. To save Satoko, the only thing I could do was to save Satoko. That's the only thing I thought about. I didn't allow myself to realize the most basic, direct, and certain way of removing the source of Satoko's unhappiness. No, actually I realized it yesterday. But as for the means, I'd rely on some stupid curse from some dumb deity. I never considered carrying the task out myself. I would obliterate Satoko's uncle. There were plenty of ways to do it. This task was that held in infinite methods. Ironically, the method of saving Satoko required mostly money. But the method of killing that man pretty much took no money at all. Oh my god, he's gonna plan to kill him now, so this is the path we're going to. He wants to take him out now. I could kill him with the least amount of investment. The least amount of money suited him. It was only the weight of his life. I kept eliminating needless, worthless information from my head, replenishing it with only knowledge I need to achieve my goal. I used every cell in my brain to think about how I'd kill him. The way I killed him didn't matter. I would allow any method from whatever time and whatever country as long as it ended in a quick and certain death. If I were to have an additional condition, it would be not to get caught. Removing him was an act designed to return the peaceful times we had with Satoko. If I was arrested in exchange for the removal, then we might as well have killed each other. With only him gone, we'd go back to our normal lives. That was my supreme objective. My ultimate goal. Kill him definitely, but definitely don't leave evidence either. Two alternative at odds with one another. The condition of not leaving a trace back to me automatically narrowed the number of murder methods. No witnesses was an absolute must. Fortunately, given the right time in Hinamizawa, there would be nobody around. I mentally reconstructed the land around Satoko's house. The number of pedestrians different at different times. The movement algorithms of the neighbors. Would I lure him out or charge at him? What would my weapon be? When and where could I carry this out? Where it needed to be somewhere I wouldn't leave a trace. For Satoko's safety without wasting even a millisecond. This is absurd. Completely absurd. When I thought about it this way, it struck me how easy the act of killing was. If I could leave evidence, if I was going to just kill him, anyone could easily turn into a murderer. But our reason prevented that. It told us doing so would get us arrested for sure. In the end, being arrested by the police was the final thing preventing people from committing homicide. If you went all the way out into the very middle of the ocean, you wouldn't leave any trace at all. Anyone would drop those they hit into the depths if they knew that. It was all too easy to simply remove him. I could leave class right now, grab a metal baseball bat or something from the schoolyard, go to his house and attack him. Estimated time would be 25 minutes. Jesus, man. If I wanted us to kill each other, it wouldn't even be minutes. I could do it in 1,500 seconds. I knew just how much his continued existence depended on me. He was nothing I could expel from this world within just 1,500 seconds after making my mind. From when I decided what to do, we only had 1,500 seconds. Actually, if I run full speed to his house, the number would go down even further. But he was alive. He was still part of this world this very moment, having torn Satogo's body and mind to shreds. Why? Because I was letting him leave. Or live. I was permitting him to live, so he was alive. If I rescinded that permission, he would be evacuating this mortal coil within, you guessed it, 1,500 seconds. You think I live to breathe even 1,500 more seconds of air? I'm taking that permissions back right here and right now. You better thank me for letting you live until the day. However, I actually need more than 1,500 seconds. I'm not just gonna end you. Getting back our old lives is far more important. It's only you I'll be cleanly cutting of this world. They won't find a culprit. I'll forget that I dirtied my hands on the likes of you as naturally as I brush my teeth before bed. So to do that, I'll make a special exception for you and give you more than 1,500 seconds. I'll give you a special permission to keep on living as you have until I can construct the perfect plan for your murder. Wait, Keiichi, you can't let the time go to waste. Yeah, I know. I'll kill him quickly. I'll remove him with certainty. I won't even waste much time for the perfect plan. Think back, tomorrow is Tatarigoroshi, isn't it? Last year on the night of Tatarigoroshi, your aunt died. Her head was busted open by some deviant and her brain splattered everywhere. That's it. He's someone who deserves to be given death on the night of the Tatarigoroshi. Okay, hey, Oyashiro-sama. You call yourself a guardian, but you didn't protect Satoko. Cursing Satoko's family for the damn stuff is your own business, but now you made Satoko unhappy when she didn't have anything to do with it. I, Keiichi Maibara, hereby denounce you, the guardian deity of Hinamizawa, a failure. We don't need you. Go back to the deepest, darkest part of your shrine this year. Besides, if you had cursed and killed both her aunt and uncle last year, none of this would have ever happened. The curse this year, it's not on you. I'll be the one deciding. It won't be the three families controlling the serial deaths behind the scenes. No, not some vague people who I can't tell if they're buffoons or not. This time, I'll be the one to deliver the divine judgment. So don't get in my way. Just watch. Stay quiet and watch. I'll obliterate him. I'll wipe him off the face of the earth. I will stomp out his very existence. So go away and disappear and die. I'll tear your heart apart just like you did to Satoko. I'll have your blood as payment.
Keiichi-kun, 大丈夫?
That is intense, man. Okay. Rena, Mion, and Riko-chan were looking after me. Had I fallen to the floor?
急に倒れたからびっくりしたよ。うなされてなかった？うなってたよ。
うるさい。黄色い声で話しかけるな。
My friends gave a start and back away.
なんだよ。
Rena and the others, they exchanged glances, unsure of what to say, and stood confused for a few minutes.
今の、圭一くんの声。
当たり前だろ。
Rena gulped firmly and opened her mouth.
今一瞬、圭一くん、
Dude, honestly,
すごい目だった。
honestly, I wish we could see Keiichi's face, right? He doesn't have a sprite. Come on, man.
目？光の角度でそう見えたんだろ。バカバカしい。
見間違いじゃないよ。あんな目、初めて見た。
What were these guys talking about? They've all been too scared of me lately. Maybe they've seen the eyes of Keiichi. No, the eyes of, for example, what Rena and Mion were doing, right? When they're kind of like super serious and like, let's say crazy again. It probably happened with Keiichi there. I want to see it though.
前原圭一くんだよね。
Like, look, when it happened to them, they are freaking out. What was Rena saying? Who else do I look like except Keiichi Maibara? The look I gave her seemed to speak quite eloquently to those irritated thoughts. She understood and quickly apologized.
ごめん。気にしないでね。
Okay. That was very intense there, the last part. So I guess Keiichi is gonna go deal with him now. Emergency. We're only getting books now. We don't really have that much tips. The ones with like stories and stuff. June 18, 1983. Abuse issues regarding Satoko Hojo. Urgent. We propose that Satoko Hojo must be taken into immediate custody based on the items below. Family situation. Life with adopted father who recently returned to Mizawa has already turned disastrous and she is currently subject to unendurable physical and mental abuse from the father. Child Consultation Center's response. A child probation officer was dispatched yesterday on the 17th from the prefecture welfare office, but because of the 77 case, changed to continued coaching and cautionary action. Unfortunately, the consultation office head does not properly understand the situation. Status of the concerned child. Child already appears to be suffering from an outbreak of something close to neurosis or manic depression. If her unstable pubescent mind is negatively stimulated by stress, it will put her development of a healthy body and mind at risk. These cannot be allowed to continue from a humane standpoint. Allegations made to the family count. We propose, based on the above items, that Satoko Hojo should immediately be taken into protective custody. She should be secured temporarily under emergency allegations to the family court under Article 28. We request emergency coordination between all related agencies. Okay, D2 number 44. Children with special needs, General D2/3 number 44. 1977. Child name, Satoko Hojo. Okay. Hinamizawa Village, Shishibone. Consultation circumstances. Telephone SOS from child of child abuse. Abuse situation. Child claims she is being physically abused by her adopted father. Family structure. Okay, mark abusers. Her adopted father, real mother, older brother, child in question. Note, adopted father and real mother entered family registry in 19. The child is a daughter of the mother's previous husband. Child Consultation Center's response. On the day of the child's telephone consultation, the center called the child's school and asked for her situation. On that day, the child welfare officer on duty visited the child's house and conducted an interview. The adopted father sincerely listened to the instruction and agreed to take child raising workshops in the city from now on. Okay, the center will continue to observe the situation. Other notes. As a result of numerous counseling sessions at the city's education consultation office regarding the child, we learned that there was a high possibility the cause of the child's excessive distrust toward her adopted father was the result of communication or lack of communication. The abuse she claimed hadn't actually taken place. She had made a false report to distance herself from her adopted father. Below is a note written in pencil by the person on duty at the time. The problem appeared to be more with the daughter. Chief Investigator F of the city's Education Consultation Office said the most of the stories of abuse were likely fabrications. They decided to shift the focus of their coaching to the child. Be cautious not to take everything the child says as truth. Now that was a problem earlier, right? Because she made all this stuff back then. And now it's hard for them to believe her. But yeah, the thing that triggered her, right? Keiichi touched her head and then yeah, she really got triggered there afterwards, right? And then she kept crying. But yeah, Keiichi got kind of annoying there because he kept shouting. He's just shouting and shouting and shouting and shouting like, I'm your friend, blah, 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 blah. And Rena, it was nice that Rena put him in his place, right? Rena said like, shut up, right? That was pretty good. Because Keiichi wouldn't shut up and it's triggering Satoko. And then afterwards, that Keiichi was, we had new music, right? And then Keiichi was thinking about doing all this stuff 1,500 seconds. He kept saying it. So maybe soon, I guess. Soon. The day of the Tatarigoroshi is next day, right? So let's see what happens next episode. Are we gonna have maybe some scenes in his house first? Or are we gonna go straight to the next day and he's gonna do his plan? But yeah. Actually, I can't really tell right now if this is Keiichi just very, very angry, or is this like in the first chapter, right? That he's kind of losing his mind again and now he's gonna kill someone. I think it's kind of like that though. But because in this one, he wants to protect Satoko, right? And Satoko is really having a hard time with her uncle, of course. But yeah, he's gonna resort to that. He's gonna kill him. He's planning to, I mean. So I don't really know. I can't really tell, man. Like if this is the same as the first chapter. If his mind is being loco again, right? Who knows? But yes, we were gonna continue this and do more of Higurashi, When They Cry, Chapter 3, Tatarigoroshi in the next one. So I'll just see you then, guys. Bye bye.